Hello, explorers, and welcome to Reach the World's Explorer program. Let me add Happy New Year to all of you who are joining us live today. For more than 25 years, Reach the World has sparked student curiosity, bringing real-world adventure, fresh perspectives, and career pathways into K-12 classrooms through virtual exchange. My name is Tim, and today is the kickoff live stream event for another sure-to-be-great virtual exchange adventure, this time with a very familiar face. We're thrilled to welcome back the wonderful Colin Heinrich, who is the Director of Global Impact for the travel company Indagare. Colin has taken us with him to far-flung places around the world over the years, ranging from Antarctica to Indonesia to Costa Rica. But this month, we're seeking something very, very specific, the elusive snow leopard. I know there are a lot of people excited to talk snow leopards today, and so am I. Colin will be joining us live from India shortly to give us an update on his expedition to date, as well as preview what we'll discover together in the coming days together. Have you ever wondered how people get around in New Delhi, the capital of India? The answer lies in Colin's first virtual exchange article, which you can now find on his virtual exchange homepage. I've shared that link in the chat on the right-hand side of your screen. So be sure to check it out, maybe not now, maybe after we're done if you haven't already seen it. And finally, fresh off of the holiday break, we've got a great group of rested, refreshed young learners who are joining us live from across the US today. So a very, very warm welcome to you all. I'm so glad to see your smiling faces backstage. We will get to a lot of questions after we get an update from Colin and what he's been up to. So be thinking about what you'd like to ask Colin. And we will get to all of those questions in just a bit. But with that, it is time for us to become virtual travelers again. Our first virtual expedition live stream event of the new year. We're going to cross the vast Atlantic Ocean. We're going to soar over the continent of Africa. We're going to wave hello to the Middle East, if you can envision it down there. And we're going to touch down in the city of Leh, India, where we'll be joining Reach the World Explorer Colin Heinrich. And I'm going to bring him onto the stage so we can say hello. Hi, Colin.
Hello, everybody. Good to be here.
It is so nice to see you, Colin, and welcome you back to Reach the World. Who can forget all the adventures we've had together over the years? There seems to be sort of a common theme of wildlife, though. I think we've been looking for orangutans in Indonesia and all kinds of creatures in Costa Rica together, and certainly penguins in Antarctica and other places. And now we're looking for what?
Now we're looking for the snow leopard, otherwise known as the ghost cat. I'm not sure exactly what grade all of these kids are in, but there's a pretty popular movie starring Ben Stiller called The Secret Life of Walter Mitty, where he goes to an area near me currently to find the snow leopard. And ever since I saw that movie, I was inspired to try to find it myself. So I am currently in the town of Leh, in the state of Ladakh in India. And I am going to be heading tomorrow into the mountains to a remote camp where my guides and I will spend the next 5 days just looking for a leopard. And here's hoping we find it.
That sounds like a wonderful way to spend a couple days looking for the beautiful elusive snow leopard. Can you bring us up to speed on how you got to where you are today and tell us a little bit more about where you are today? So we have some context of why it is you have to come to this specific spot to look for snow leopards.
Yeah. So I am the director of impact for a travel agency called Indagare, as Tim so kindly mentioned in my introduction. What that means is I focus on ways to make travel more sustainable. There are so many amazing places in the world, and so many of them are under threat through climate change, through habitat loss. A lot of these animals are at risk of not being around in as soon as 20 years. So by finding these experiences and elevating the ways that we can make them more responsible, I am hoping that the work that I do, that the work that the guides I'm working with do, will make the snow leopard in particular an animal that is around for a long, long time. In terms of how I got to Leh in particular, It is a long journey. I live in Denver, Colorado, actually. So to get here, I had to fly 5 hours from Denver to Newark, New Jersey. I had a 5 hour layover. Then I flew 15 hours to New Delhi, where I had a day layover. And then I flew 1 hour to Leh, and that's where I'm at now.
Fabulous. I have a couple of photos queued up from your journey so far, and some of them correspond to the article, wonderful article you wrote about transportation that you've encountered so far in India. And we started to talk about that. And some of them just sort of get at where you are and some unique aspects of Indian culture that you're experiencing. So I'm going to bring them up and just sort of let you talk them through. And when you give me a little ding, I'll advance to the next one.
Yeah. So this is New Delhi. This is India. This is what it's like to drive there. And if it looks a little chaotic to you, it really isn't that chaotic. There's a system to the madness. Um, India and New Delhi in particular, as a city, has been around for 5,000 years. There have been people living in this area for that long. That's far, far longer than the United States has even existed. And so, as this city grew, it certainly didn't have cars in mind. So the streets are often very narrow. People got around in traditional ways like rickshaws and tuk-tuks. Those are the smaller little yellow vehicles that you see there. Um, as cars became a bigger part of transportation, they started driving around these traditional tuk-tuks. And as that became a thing, um, blowing your horn became really the way that people communicate on the road. And so as people are driving, they're weaving, they're bobbing, they're almost hitting each other, but they're not, and they never really do. And the reason for that is that they all really understand where they're allowed to go, even if there's no lines on the street. They all understand who has priority, whether the trucks need to stop for these tuk-tuks, whether the tuk-tuks can squeeze in between two cars, whether these pedestrians can just walk wherever they'd like. It all kind of makes sense to the people who grew up there, even if it doesn't make sense to me. This is one of the it's not a tuk-tuk, it's a pedal bike. This is one of the most popular ways to get around. These people make their living by pedaling their bicycle with a trailer attached to it. And it's the easiest way to get around, and it's the easiest way because it's so small, and so it's easy to do that bobbing and weaving that I mentioned. So this is more of just a vibe set to really give a sense of how beautiful India can be. That picture of the street is a pretty intimidating one. But this building is called the Tomb of Humayun. And some of you may have heard of the Taj Mahal. This was built about 70 years before the Taj Mahal for an emperor who came before the emperor that built the Taj Mahal. These are all tombs. So when the emperor dies, they are buried in a very elaborate grave, essentially, which this entire building is one big grave for one person. But it's done so beautifully that it's a place that everybody visits to this day, even though it's well over 500 years old. That's just me in front of it. Sometimes it's hard to remember to take pictures of yourself, and those are the ones that I think you really care about years down the line. So getting to Leh involves flying over the Himalayas. If you don't know what the Himalayas are, they are the tallest mountains in the world. So in this picture, I'm actually cruising at airline altitude, so about 40,000 feet. And it really doesn't seem that high because these peaks themselves are 25,000 feet above sea level. In Colorado, where some of the tallest mountains in America are, we get 14,000 foot uh, mountains. So the mountains in the Himalayas are over twice as tall as the ones that we have. This is also in Ladakh. So Ladakh is a very mountainous place. It's actually not in the Himalayas. It's on the other side of them, in a different mountain range called the Karakoram Range. Um, but to get around here, you have to drive through some very narrow uh, streets with a big drop on the end. So careful driving is very important. And this is a picture that I just took earlier today. You can't quite see it, but if you look in the background, there's a little line that is snaking across these mountains. This is actually the highest motorway in the world. So this street goes 20,000 feet above sea level. The air is very thin. The sky is clear. It's very cold, but it's a very interesting road to drive on.
Colin, I'm going to keep this picture up for a minute because it is our last photo before we get to some student questions. But is this a photo of Leh, where you are now?
This is a photo of Leh, that's correct. It looks very different from what most people think of as being India, but it is the far north of India.
Okay, so quite a difference from New Delhi, where you landed. Not as much traffic, it seems. I think it's one of the most interesting aspects about connecting with you live like this is that while it is 9, 10, 11 o'clock here in the United States, what time is it for you, and what's going on? What's like outside your window right now?
Yeah, so there's nothing outside my window. It is incredibly dark. And because you'll see, this is a very small, it is a city, but it's a very small city without very many lights at night. And so if I look out my window, I will see pitch black. If I were to have light outside, I'd be able to see these giant mountain ranges. But because I think 10 and a half hours ahead of you, it is currently 8:42 p.m. where I am.
Okay, so definitely getting on to evening. It'll be your bedtime soon, I presume. Thank you for staying up to hang out with us and tell us about your journey. You have come a long way over the last couple days, and I know you were saying you're tired. I don't blame you. That's a long way to travel. And you have come to this part of the world specifically for a very specific reason. Can you talk a little bit more about that, please?
Yeah, so snow leopards are one of the most endangered cats in the world. If you think about it, I'm going to compare it to Colorado again, where I'm from. Colorado is a single state in the United States. There are 4,000 mountain lions in Colorado. I have never seen a mountain lion. There are snow leopards spread across 12 separate countries that spread along the Himalayas. In that time, or in that space, I should say, there are only 10,000 snow leopards total. So it is incredibly difficult to find them. Luckily, trackers have gotten very good at it. So I will be heading up into the mountains to a camp with some guides, with some trackers, and they work on conserving the snow leopard, working with governments, working with tourism industry, to turn the snow leopard into a thing people want to pay to see, which will ultimately make it a more desirable part of the country's culture and convince them to help raise the number of snow leopards overall. So that's really what my job entails is storytelling around these sorts of experiences and convincing people that these creatures are better alive than dead because the biggest danger to snow leopards is things like habitat loss and poaching, which all in all are very hard on the snow leopard population, but they're very hard problems to solve.
All right, great. So what we've covered so far in just our few first minutes together, I'm sure have raised a lot of questions from our students who are joining us live today. So I'm going to go into my backstage area where we've got a lot of really eager classrooms waiting to ask questions. And I'm gonna let's see here. Who should we start with today? I think I see a lot of hands waving at 4S. Green Street. So why don't we bring 4S on? You guys are the winners, the most enthusiastic wavers. Do we have somebody at 4S who has a burning question for Colin? And I'll unmute you. Oh, you're going to have to unmute yourself. Try it one more time. No, it is unmuted, but I can't hear you yet. Sorry, I see your smiling faces, but I don't hear the sound yet. Oh, there we go.
Okay, hear us?
Yep, we're in business.
Woo! All right.
Hello, kids.
Who has got a question for Colin?
Let's do ducks. Go ahead, Clementine. Come on up.
I saw in your intro that you really liked cats. When did you start really liking cats?
I've had cats my entire life. When I was born, I had 2 cats. By the time I was 16 years old, I had 7 cats, along with 2 birds, 20 fish, a frog, a gecko, 2 birds. Did I say birds already?
Yes.
Man, what else did I have? I really ran wild a little bit. I was not my parents' favorite kid, given how many snakes I brought into the house that one time.
Great question. Do we have another question that we can answer while we're with you?
So in the intro thing, it said that there was this type of tiger or something that was brought back to like a more stable species population. How do you do that exactly?
Yeah, so like I said, the 2 biggest problems with wildlife conservation right now are poaching and habitat loss. And the primary issue is habitat loss. Poaching is a little bit less of an issue nowadays. So what you have to do is figure out, how do you make more habitat for these animals to give them more space to live? More space to live means more space for an individual animal to have their own food source, their own water, without competition. And so right now, the most important thing is called wildlife corridors. We are not able to reduce the size of cities. We're not able to change the way that people live without hurting people. So what we have to do is find a way to connect these pockets of land that the animals can live on through those populations, rather than completely cutting them off. And so what you can do, for example, with the tigers, is you have a wildlife sanctuary, and then you have a strip of land that connects it to a different wildlife sanctuary. And even if there's people that live in that strip of land, you prepare them for the fact that there are going to be tigers there. You give them safety tools. You give them livestock protection. Anything that a tiger could pose a risk to them, you address. And then it becomes less of an issue for them to have tigers in their neighborhood. And those tigers can move freely between the land that is protected for them, and breed and find their own homes, and ultimately raise that population in a sustainable way.
Excellent question. We're getting right into it with responsible travel and protection of habitats. Thank you so much for us. You guys are rock stars. Keep thinking of questions. We'll come back to you. I saw Ms. Hawkinjo's students standing ready. I'm going to bring you onto the screen. Hello, good morning. It's wonderful to see you. If you have some brave question askers, please step up to the camera. It's your turn.
Over here, it's right here, the webcam.
What inspired you to do your job? Would you practice what you do today?
Yeah, so I started at the company that I work at just doing some operational work. I was helping to set up hotel stays for travelers. I was helping to plan tours for people. And as part of my job, I'm extraordinarily lucky. I get to travel. And one time I was traveling to a country called Rwanda in Africa. It's a very small country, and it's one of the only countries where gorillas live. And The gorilla conservation story is actually very interesting because I said earlier that you can't actually move people away from these wildlife lands to give them more space. Rwanda is an example where they did that and it actually worked. They paid people who lived near the gorillas to move away and give them a little bit more space. To do that, they made payments to them, they built schools, they built hospitals, they gave them just a better way to live in a new place. And when I was in Rwanda, they threw a celebration for this organization that set this all up because it had improved their lives so much. And at the same time, it had improved the gorillas' lives. And that really made me connect the dots that travel and tourism can be a powerful driver for change and conservation. And that inspired me to bring that back to my job and start working on those sorts of experiences at Indagare.
Thank you.
Wonderful question. Wonderful answer. Let's take one more from Miss Hockendos, please.
All right, Tori, come up, go ahead.
What continents are the tigers found in? Snow leopards, sorry.
Yeah, so snow leopards and tigers are both found in Asia. Asia is one of the largest, actually, it is the largest continent, but they're found in different parts. So the snow leopards are found only in the mountains of the Himalayas. Tigers, on the other hand, are found both in the jungles in India. They're found on some islands in Indonesia. They're also found up in the snow, not in the mountains, but in the far north in Russia and in Korea, actually. Those are all different species of tigers. The Siberian tiger, the Sumatran tiger, the Burmese tiger. It's a little bit complicated, but I'm sure you'll get to these sorts of conversations in your science classes, how these species and subspecies are described.
Wonderful question. Thank you so much, Ms. Hockendos' class. I'll move you to the backstage. We'll come back to you in a little bit. That question brings up a really good, just one other point before we bring some more students on. I know 4J, I see you waving. You're next. Colin, you are not just looking for snow leopards here. You are also looking for tigers in India. And we're going to go in search of tigers after you do spend your time looking for snow leopards. So can you talk a little bit about what like similarities or differences there might be in snow leopard and tiger conservation or protection within the country of India?
Yeah. So tigers are a much more, or they were at least, a much more common animal. Snow leopards, like I said, they're called the ghost cat. They're very hard to find. There's not very many of them. They live in the mountains. There's never been a recorded attack on a human by these snow leopards. On the other hand, tigers live in the jungles down in India where it's very, very populated. And because of this, there have been a lot of problems in the past where tigers have hurt and even killed livestock, people. The relationship between people and tigers is a lot more complicated than it is between people and snow leopards. Because of that, there's a lot of people that don't want tigers to have their populations rise. It's dangerous for them. And that's something that we really have to balance as conservationists, that it's all well and good for us to want to save a population of an animal because we think it's the right thing to do. It's another thing entirely to put other people at risk because of that. And so, whereas with snow leopards, conservation really is a much easier thing in terms of getting governments to cooperate and protect spaces. With tigers, it's really about outreach and talking to these communities and making them feel safe and heard when it comes to bringing tigers back to their area. And so that is something called human wildlife conflict reduction. This is something that you see in Africa a lot with lions that also live in close proximity to people. It's something that you see in America here. It's a big conversation about wolves and how safe it is to bring wolves back to areas where people live. So it's a very complicated topic. It's going to take a long time to get right, but I think we are on the right track there.
All right, wonderful, wonderful preview of where we're going after snow leopards with you, Colin. What a wildlife focused journey this will be. It's exactly what we expect when we connect with you. Our friends at 4JA at Green Street have been waiting patiently backstage. Hello, hello. Do we have a question or two that you would like to ask Colin? If so, please go ahead.
Hasn't looked for them yet. Can you ask what you have them?
Yeah.
Oh, here.
Can you breathe like where you hunt for snow leopards on the mountains?
You can. It is harder. Luckily, I'm pretty used to it. So the elevation if I were to go skiing in Colorado, for example, I might get up to 12,000 feet above sea level. At the lowest levels of where these snow leopards are, it's right around there. So it's very high elevation. There's not a lot of air. I get out of breath walking up the stairs. But that's why I'm in Leh, actually. I have to spend time here before I go up into the mountains to find the snow leopards because my body needs to, it's called acclimatizing. I need to get used to the elevations so that I can safely hike and look for animals.
Yeah, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever like work in a lab or on a computer, or are you just always traveling?
I work in a computer most of the time. Like I said, this is a really big perk of what I do, getting to travel and see these places and these animals. But the vast majority of this work is just sending emails. A lot of conservation is about fundraising and making sure that the scientists who do spend their time always on the ground traveling have the resources that they need in order to do their work. So this trip is a lot about learning about what these scientists need so that when I go back to my desk job, I can work on fundraising for them and getting them those resources.
Thank you.
Fabulous question. Should we take one more from 4J before we bring on another class? We'll come back to you. This isn't your only chance.
Great, thank you.
What's your favorite trait about snow leopards and why?
Fluffiness. It's got to be the fluffiness. I have a cat myself right now who is they're called a Siamese or a Siberian cat, I should say. Very, very fluffy, more fluff than body. And snow leopards just remind me of my own cat. So that's one of the reasons I like them so much.
Thank you.
Great question, great answer. Is there anyone in 4J who has a really fluffy cat at home and they can just totally relate to that? Yeah, I've got a really fluffy cat too. I don't think you're going to be snuggling with snow leopards, but the point's well taken.
Probably not.
4J, we'll come back to you in just a bit. Let's go back to 4S. Hello again. Has our discussion over the last few minutes inspired some more questions? If so, we'll take a further question.
Can you hear us?
We can.
Awesome. Elijah, do you want to come?
What will you do once you get to see the snow leopards, if you get to see them?
Yeah, so ultimately, I'm just going to be sitting there and watching. Finding a snow leopard is not like seeing, an animal on the side of the road in the US. Generally speaking, because there's so few snow leopards, if I do see one, it's going to be a mile away, a mountain away. And the only way to see it is going to be with it's called a spotting scope. It's like a giant binoculars. And I'm just going to have to sit there and watch it. We can't really get close. But some of the guides and the scientists will tell us about what the snow leopard is doing. Maybe it'll have a cub with it if I'm lucky, and I'll get to see it feeding its cub. If I'm really lucky, I'll get to see a snow leopard taking down some of its prey and then eating it. But the chances of that are pretty small. So I'm just looking forward to getting to sit and watch them.
Excellent. Let's take one more from Forrest before we go to Stony Lane. I see you, Stony Lane. We'll come to you next.
So, what's your favorite type of cat, like a lion or a tiger?
I don't think I can answer that. I think my own cat is my favorite cat. Of the big cats, I would have to say a lion. They're the king of the jungle for a reason.
Wonderful question. Thank you so much. For us, we'll come back if we've got some time. I see all the rest of those hands. We'll get to as many as we can. Stony Lane has been waiting very patiently. Hello, Stony Lane. Thanks for figuring out your camera issues. We can see you.
Oh, hooray. Now you can.
Now we can't, but we can hear you. So if you have a question, please come on up.
Yes, we do. We do. Here is a question that one of our students asked. Could you read this one, please?
If you find a snow leopard, what will you do with it?
Yeah, so that's just going back to I'm going to watch it. There's not really much I can do unless it happened to be much, much closer than I'm anticipating it to be. If it's a lot closer, then I'm probably going to run and hide because I don't want to be the first person to ever get hurt by a snow leopard. But I think it'll be a pretty peaceful interaction overall.
One more question coming. Thank you. Go ahead.
What kind of animal?
No, what harms?
What harms a snow leopard?
What, could you repeat that?
What harms a snow leopard?
Yeah, so a snow leopard doesn't have any natural predators. It is the biggest and most dangerous animal in the mountains. So what harms a snow leopard is people. There are people who will shoot and kill a snow leopard because its fur is so pretty. They want to turn it into a rug or a coat of some kind. There are also people who believe that certain parts of the snow leopard can be used in traditional medicine. This is generally not true, but it is a long-held traditional belief that it's going to take some work to convince people to break.
Thank you for the great question, Stony Lane. Do you have one more while we're here, or are you good?
Yeah, well, we do. We have actually like a whole lot more, but yes, we have one more that we can do for today, and that is just this one. Are you ready to read it? Yes, and both of them.
Sure, go ahead.
Hold on, here we go.
How will you find them? Where will you look?
Yeah, so it's going to be a really difficult process. What happens is the people who know how to find a snow leopard have been doing this for years. They know how the cats think, they know where they like to go, they know what food that it eats, and they know where that food likes to go. And so every morning, all of these different trackers are going to be going out into different parts of the mountains. And they're going to be looking for signs of snow leopards, whether that's footprints or half-eaten meals or even just pieces of fur that have gotten stuck on a plant. And then they'll sit and they'll wait. And if they can find a snow leopard coming back to a place that they've been before, then they'll radio in to everybody else that's been looking, and they'll say that there's been a sighting. And that's when everybody will then hike or drive to convene on that one spot and try to find the snow leopard for everybody.
So what a wonderful question, Stony Lane. I'll move you backstage. We have a couple more minutes to go, so I think we can make one more round of classrooms. How about that? Let's give maybe one or two more questions from each of our wonderful classrooms backstage. And we'll go through the loop one more time. So many great questions for us. Let's start with you, since that's where we started originally. And you will, as a reminder, we will have more chances to ask Colin our questions. You don't have to ask all your questions today, but this is a great chance to do it. And we're ready for you when you're here.
All right, go ahead, Clarence. Why did you turn the volume?
Which do you like more, puppies or snow leopards?
Snow leopards. I'm not a dog guy.
Okay.
Go ahead, Maya.
Hello.
Hi.
Would snow leopards use their claws or teeth more to hunt?
So it's interesting because every cat is a little bit different. The way that snow leopards tend to hunt is by jumping on their prey and then biting their neck so that the animal can't breathe. And then they wait for the animal to die, and that's when they start to eat it. So it's not like they slash it or bite it, they choke it.
Oh, thank you.
Can we do one more?
Yes, please. Yeah, if you have one more ready to go, we would love to do it. Excellent.
How many snow leopards have you ever seen?
None. This will be my first time. I'm excited.
Wonderful questions. Thank you very much for us. We'll move you to backstage. Colin, before we switch over to Ms. Hackenjoes, let me ask you, you have seen gorillas, you've seen orangutans, you've seen many, many incredible, amazing things in the world, especially wildlife experiences. Where would spotting a snow leopard rank in that already very impressive list of experiences?
It would be right by the top. There are so many incredible animals in the world that I've been lucky enough to see, but none so rare and none so hard to find. So if we do get to find one, it's going to be a truly special emotional experience.
If you had to give it a percentage likelihood that you would see a snow leopard in the few days you're going to be at this camp, what do you think it would be at this point?
I think it's around 90%, because they have a lot of people that are out there tracking them. They generally know that there are snow leopards in the area. The camp that I'm visiting did let me know that they saw a snow leopard yesterday. So they know they're in the area. They know they're around. It's just going to be a matter of being here long enough to see it for myself.
That is incredibly exciting. That number is a lot higher than I thought it was going to be. Let's bring Miss Hackenjoe's students back on let's do two more questions from Miss Hackenjoe's class.
What's your current plan to try and help the animals? What are you planning to do?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So what my job entails is, as I'm here, I'm learning about what snow leopards need to survive. I'm meeting people and building relationships with scientists, with conservationists. And then what I'm going to do when I go home is I'm going to work to bring the processes that these scientists have said they needed into our own work in the travel planning sphere. So when we plan trips to India for people, we'll be able to say, here's the project that we're going to be fundraising for. Here's where you're going to go to make a difference for snow leopards. Here's literature about the animal so that you can stay involved after your trip is over, and ultimately raise awareness for this animal, for this cause, and hope that in our own small way, we can make a difference.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful question. Do we have a grand finale from Miss Hackenjoe's class?
What can we as students do to help?
Yeah, also a very good question. The biggest thing that you as students can do is to learn. A lot of what harms animals is ignorance. People who don't realize that that habitat loss is an issue. People who don't realize that buying a souvenir that is made from parts of a snow leopard is bad. If you grow up knowing that these sorts of things are important to keep in mind, the demand for that will drop, and ultimately, the snow leopard would be saved. So keeping an open mind, having that hunger for knowledge about conservation, always wanting to learn about these animals, is going to do more than most people can ever hope to do.
Thank you for that wonderful question. Thank you, Ms. Hackenjost, for being here today with your students. I think that means our next class is 4J. We'll come to you in just a moment, and then we can finish with Stony Lane if you have some questions you want to share with us. So 4J, do we have maybe 2 or maybe 3 questions? If it's a burning, urgent question for Colin for this time, I will turn it over to you.
We have 2.
Great.
Go ahead.
Are there any languages in India that you know how to speak?
I don't know how to speak anything except for English and some pretty bad Spanish. There are hundreds of languages spoken in India. The most common one is called Hindi. But because India was actually ruled by England for a long time, English is also spoken very widely here. So that's very helpful. But here in Ladakh, where I'm at right now, most people actually speak Ladakhi. They don't speak Hindi as much. But because there's so many different languages in India, most people here speak anywhere between 4 and 5 different languages. So it's really inspiring.
Thank you.
What time do you have to go and try to find the snow leopards?
So because it's winter here, the only time you can really see snow leopards is during the winter. Otherwise, there's enough snow that you can't get into the places where they like to live. But because it's winter, it gets dark early and it doesn't get light until late. So we probably won't be able to start looking for snow leopards until at least 7 o'clock in the morning. But the people who are going out to start the tracking process will go out a little bit earlier, around 6. And if we find one, then fantastic. But basically from 7 to 7, we're going to be looking for snow leopards. So 12 hours straight.
Oh, that's really cool. Thank you.
Fabulous questions. Thank you so much. I think if you're going to spend 12 hours doing something, looking for snow leopards is a pretty great way to spend 12 hours. I'm so excited to see what you might find. And we'll finish with Stony Lane. I know that your camera's coming in and out, but if you have a question that you would like to finish us off with Colin, please unmute and let us know.
Thank you. The children have a lot of specific questions about snow leopards, and I think we'll ask next time.
Okay.
But I do have one question that
Sure,
I'm kind of curious about, and that is, will Colin be able to, if you're up high in the mountains, so high up, will you be able to communicate with us and maybe do one of these virtual visits, or will you be not have a connection?
Yeah, so I'm not going to have a connection when I'm up there. The mountains are so tall that there's just no way for any of these signals to penetrate them. The next one of these is going to be once I get back from the mountains. But by then, hopefully I'll have some great photos of the snow leopards that I can share and really have some tangible experiences based on this conversation.
Great. We can't wait to see them. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that great question. It's a really interesting topic because there aren't many places on this world where we can't connect live with you, Colin, but high up in the mountains, like where you're about to go, is one of them. We are going to actually push back our scheduled next live stream so that we can connect with Colin after this experience. And I am sure that as Colin goes out into the field and looks for snow leopards, he is going to take short videos and photos, and next time he joins us, he'll relate all of his experiences from that high snow leopard camp, which I cannot wait for too. I think everybody here who's heard the enticing preview of where he's going can't wait to hear about what he finds. We are right at time. In fact, we have maybe time for one more question. If this conversation has just there's a burning question that needs to be asked. Give me a wave from backstage if anybody. I think maybe we tied it up nicely there with that last conversation about where Colin's about to go. Colin, I have one more thing that I wanted to talk about before we let you go. And this is one of what I think is the most interesting things about India. I am in Chicago. You live in Denver most of the time. Many of our students are on the East Coast. If it's 11 o'clock in New York, it is 10 o'clock in Chicago and 9 o'clock in Denver because of the way time zones work. But there's something really interesting and unique happening in India with the time zone adjustment. Can you talk about that for a final second?
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what you're prompting.
You know what I'm referring to? The half hour time zone.
Oh, yeah. So it's interesting because time zones you always think of as being in 1 hour increments, 24 time zones around the world. Each one is 1 hour in front of the other. India actually does a half hour, so it splits the difference between the hours. And the reason it does that is because of daylight savings time. So rather than going forward an hour in the spring, back an hour in the fall, they just keep their clocks exactly where they are, right in the middle of the two.
All right, excellent. Interesting little tidbit to leave you with today after what's been a riveting conversation. Colin, we have got to wrap it here today, not only for you to go to sleep and get ready for your journey into the high mountains, but it's great to know that this goodbye is tolerable because we'll be able to reconnect live with you again very soon, as early as next week, after you've had a couple days looking for snow leopards, and we're going to get a full report on your journey up into the Himalayas, and fingers crossed have a snow leopard sighting to talk about in the coming days. We can't wait to hear about it from you then. Safe travels along those mountain roads, and we'll see you next week. Students and educators, thank you for starting your day with Reach the World today. We will give you all the updates on when we're going to connect with Colin next. There will be some slight changes to that. I'll reach out to you teachers. This virtual exchange in search of snow leopards and tigers in India is really just getting started. It's going to go fast, but there's a lot of ground to cover. We've had some great conversations today, and it's only going to get better. So please keep an eye on Colin's Journey homepage for his latest articles. I put the article in the chat, the link in the chat, and I'm going to put it at the bottom of the page here too, so in case you didn't get it there. Check there for new articles from Colin. That may be the first place we get a preview of how the search for snow leopards is going. But until then, I'm going to bring our classrooms who are still with us back on stage so we can give a big wave and goodbye. Colin, you're the best. Thank you so much for joining us. It has been wonderful talking to you today, and we'll reconnect with you in a couple days. Thanks a lot.
Sounds great. Can't wait.
Care.
Bye, everybody.